Hi, everyone. Good morning and happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, May 26th, and you're watching Sustainability Matters. My name is Camille Lang, and I am a resource conservation specialist with the county's Office of Sustainability. Good morning, and thank you again for joining us. Let us know where in San Mateo County you're tuning in from. We'd love to welcome you into the space this morning. As you do that, let me introduce myself a little bit more and what we'll be discussing live in this broadcast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to our monthly installment of Sustainability Matters, where we bring local specialists in the field to discuss crucial sustainability and climate action topics in the context of San Mateo County. In today's Sustainability Matters, we will be celebrating Bike Month with my colleague, Matt Petrovsky. We will be chatting about the benefits of biking to you and to the planet, along with how you can get involved in celebrating Bike Month this weekend and all throughout the year when you opt in to bike to your next destination. My name is Camille Lang, and I am a resource conservation specialist with San Mateo County's Office of Sustainability. In my role, I work towards amplifying youth voices in climate action through our Youth Climate Ambassador and Youth Exploring Sea Level Rise science programs. When I'm not out in the field with students, you'll find me here supporting connections with residents, businesses, and all of the other beautiful community change makers we are connected to here on our social media channels. If you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SustainSMC to get updates on our programs and opportunities. And there's plenty of opportunities when you connect with us to share your thoughts and ideas as well. I'm not sure about you all, but all this time at home has given me more of an opportunity to notice what's around me, especially as I walk, ride, or bike through my neighborhood. The feeling of the wind on my cheeks as I'm putting the wheels to pavement throughout my community makes me eager to do it again the next time I'm on my way to my next community destination. I have found myself looking forward to the chance to slow down a little bit on my commute and enjoy the journey. Trips to my local library, my favorite grocery store, and the best coffee shop in the world just down the street from me have become a whole new adventure when I get out of my car and bike or walk or roll there. It catches me by surprise how much I look forward to those little trips now, saving them for weekend mornings or times when I really want to revel in the whole experience of getting to my destination. Aside from that joy of the journey that I've gained in the past few years, there's so much more that is benefited when we choose to bike to our destination. It's been a really interesting realm of sustainability to get into more, and I'm thrilled to be joined by a local expert in this space because, let me tell you, I have questions. But before I go any further, I'm curious to know what you all think about when we use the term active transportation, and that's defined by walking, riding, or rolling through San Mateo County. So type in the chat to share with us. What do you think of when we talk about active transportation or walking, biking, or rolling through the county? In the Office of Sustainability, active transportation fits into our mission to build a sustainable community that fulfills the needs of the present and the future. And to achieve this mission, we engage directly with communities to understand their needs and to ensure that we deliver programs that are centered with broad input and equity. We also work across other county departments to help them also integrate sustainability into their work. And we work extensively with our 20 partner cities as well. Our programs are designed to bring solutions today, but we're also solving for tomorrow, trying to really look ahead with these issues. We have programs that help the county both fight and prepare for climate change. We have programs that also help ensure clean energy, water, and air, and that conserve resources for future generations through waste reduction. And we work to create livable communities that have affordable housing near transit that are both bikeable and walkable. To learn more about any of the programs I just mentioned, feel free to check us out online at smcsustainability.org. Today, we are joined by my colleague here in the Office of Sustainability to explore and understand the benefits of biking and localizing those benefits here in San Mateo County. So before we get too far into it, I just want to say hello again and welcome to Sustainability Matters. I'm your host, Camille Lang, and today we're celebrating Bike Month and discussing the benefits of biking to you and to the planet. With that, let's get into introducing our panelists for today. I'm joined by my colleague here at the Office of Sustainability, Matthew Petrovsky. Matt, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How's it
going? Thank you. It's going well. Excited to be here.
Great. So I mentioned to our audience earlier that I have some questions for you about biking. Are you ready to talk about Bike Month?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So what is Bike Month? Tell me about it.
All right. Well, Bike Month is every May. It's an annual event, and it's really just a great opportunity to showcase the benefits of biking and encourage people to do it more often. So it's been going since the 50s, so it's been a long running event. But throughout the month, there are classes and activities and sales and just sort of all kinds of things. The most famous event that you may have heard of is Bike to Work Day. That's now been rebranded as Bike to Wherever Day. Um, since the pandemic and everybody started working from home, they wanted to expand things. They also expanded it from a day to multiple days. That just happened last weekend. Um, During those days, there's Energizer stations set up, so you may see, little tables with coffee and snacks and giveaways by various sponsor organizations. All in all, it's just a great opportunity to get people excited about biking, to try to encourage those folks who do it often to keep doing it, and to hopefully get folks that have had their bike in the garage for a little while to dust it off and get out there and kind of get things ready for the summer.
That's so cool. I know for Bike to Wherever Day, I biked to my local park and there was like a whole hangout going on over there. It was really fun to see everyone gathering in that space and dusting off their bikes to use them for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing about that, Matt. I was wondering, what do you categorize, or I guess, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do in the Office of Sustainability and how your work connects to biking in San Mateo County?
For sure. So I work on transportation topics. Generally speaking, my job is to get people out of cars, and then if they're in cars, to get them into electric or zero emission vehicles. So that, broadly speaking, is what I do. We have a lot of different programs that sort of operate to do that. In the public space, I work next to, I'm definitely not the leader of, but I work next to our active transportation team. And they are the folks who are looking at implementing bike lanes and trying to advocate for better bicycle infrastructure throughout our community. So I get to help out on a few of their projects. I'm certainly not in charge, but that's a great team that we have that operates within our office. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. So within your role and kind of supporting the active transportation work, I'd love to hear kind of what you think of as the benefits of biking.
For sure. Well, tons and tons. So there's, of course, lots of personal benefits. I mean, of course, just, getting out and feeling the wind in your hair is fantastic and feels great. Everybody loves that. There's the obvious like health benefits, you're stretching your legs, moving around. For me, one that I like to advertise a lot is the cost savings. So for me, a big benefit of biking, I tend to use my bike as a means of transportation rather than a means of recreation necessarily. Don't get me wrong, I definitely like go on rides sometimes and I really enjoy it. But I'm not usually the guy you're gonna find with spandex and going for a 50-mile ride up into the hills. I'm usually just like going to the grocery store, going to work, traveling around, going to see my friends. So from that perspective, the benefits of biking are financially are huge. Each one of those trips is a trip I would be taking in my car. The IRS pre this whole gas spike thing had the cost of driving at about 50 cents a mile. So think about how often you get an oil change done, maybe once, twice, three times a year. Each one of those is 3,000 to 5,000 miles. I mean, you're talking potentially a few thousand, maybe even up to like $5,000 in expenses in your car that you're incurring, all the time, every time you drive. So if you can not be driving, you're saving a ton of cash and having a great time while you're doing it. Beyond that, there's a lot of sort of external benefits. There's the obvious greenhouse gas emissions reductions benefits.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Can you tell me more about the greenhouse gas situation?
Yeah. So again, this sort of comes from like if you're replacing car trips, right? If you're just biking around the block and having a great time, not reducing your carbon footprint, you may be having an awesome time, but you're not really like, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. But once you're getting out of your car and replacing a car trip, that's when those savings are huge. The greenhouse gases that come from our transportation are one of the biggest and most stubborn sectors of emissions in our greenhouse gas emissions footprint. So being able to reduce those emissions in a way that is fun and good for you and good for the people around you is a really fantastic way to reduce your entire emissions footprint. And beyond just greenhouse gas emissions, which have sort of larger impacts on public health and things like that from the impacts of climate change, there's also direct public health impacts. So being in your car, whether it's electric or otherwise, or hybrid or otherwise, your car is emitting gases and kicking up particulate matter. So nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide that come from tailpipes, and the particulate matter that comes off of brakes and wheels and things like that. That all kicks stuff up in the air, and it's pretty easy to find research that shows proximity to freeways, like how close people live to freeways, and the rates of poor air quality and high asthma rates and cardiovascular diseases. So yeah,
Those are serious. Wow.
It's serious. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying not to go into like too dark of a spot this early in the morning, but the public health implications of not driving your car are huge, right? I mean, the air quality impacts are huge, and the sort of other health impacts, traffic crashes, things like that. Also, things that nobody really wants to think about. Definitely early in the morning for that, but cars can be dangerous for pedestrians, for other vehicle drivers. There's hundreds of people, over 100 people die a day in cars, and it's pretty hard to run somebody over on your bike to the point where you're going to do that. So nobody likes to think of themselves as contributing to that, but when we drive, we sort of vote with our actions. By biking, you're voting against that. You're saying that I don't want to be a part of this problem, and you become a sort of a visible symbol, right? It's really easy for legislators to look at the 101 when it's clogged up with cars and say, look, there's all these people driving. We need to do something about it. Similarly, if they were to look out their window and see a road clogged with bikes, they might say, hey, this is where some infrastructure dollars should go. This is something that we should invest in. This is something that's important to our community. So every time you can replace a vehicle trip with a bike trip, you're in some sense sort of voting with your actions. So lots of benefits.
I like that idea that that's so many benefits. I mean, pick one that resonates with you, right? Like there's a lot that you can get out of biking. Something that you were mentioning just now of like that, like seeing a problem and helping solve that problem once it's like visible. I think when I see like the bike parties like run through downtown Redwood City, like it makes me so happy to see that many people taking climate action, but also just having fun together. And that resonates so much more with me of like, wow, like climate action is a really fun thing we can do as a community. It's not something that I'm like bogged down feeling hopeless about on my own. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so more questions about biking. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. So as a resident, how can you celebrate Bike Month this month in San Mateo County? What would you recommend?
Yeah, so Bike Month is mostly over since it is the month of May, but there are definitely a couple events still happening. Tomorrow, Friday, there should be a couple bike bashes. So there's just sort of little wrap-up parties. I think they'll be at 5 p.m. at the sports basements in Redwood City and in Sunnyvale. But they're just little get-togethers, food, beverages, maybe some music. But it's not really like too late. There's still 4 more days. There's still the weekend. You can always just go for a ride. A lot of the sort of more structured activities may have wrapped up for this year, but it's never too late for it to be your own personal bike month. Feel free to hop on one. Also, a lot of the organizations that sponsor Bike Month, the Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition, the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition, these sort of advocacy organizations that work around bicycles, they operate year round and they put on events year round. There's fun rides that you can join. There's classes. There's all kinds of stuff going on all the time to get people excited about and onto bikes. So for Bike Month specifically, there's a party. But beyond that, there's lots you can still do.
Yeah, totally. That sounds cool. And then with the long weekend coming ahead here, like there's an extra day to kind of celebrate, think about how you want to do Bike Month. That's so cool. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Well, I just want to pause for a moment and welcome people that are viewing. Good morning and welcome to Sustainability Matters. My name is Camille Lang. I'm joined by my colleague Matt Petrovsky from the Office of Sustainability. Today we're talking about biking in San Mateo County. It's Bike Month, and we have just a few more days here. Matt's been sharing a little bit of the benefits of biking for us and for the planet. And Matt was just mentioning of all these cool opportunities to get involved over the weekend. If you want something more structured, like a formal event, you can check out your local sports basement, or just dust off your bike and get out there, try it out for the weekend. What do you love about biking through San Mateo County, Matt?
Man, it's beautiful, frankly. I mean, there's just so much good, um, just great views and good nature access throughout the county. I mean, if you're on the coast, you get to the ocean, you're biking along the seaside up and down the one on the weekends, especially. There's a lot of people biking around. If you're up on Skyline or Cañada or Portola Road, all those ones sort of up in the hills, also beautiful, stunning ridgeline views. And, the open space preserves up there are fantastic if you can want to go off trail a little bit. And then on the east side, the Bay Trail is like phenomenal. It's really nice just to cruise up and down the Bay Trail. You can go all the way up and down. You can go around the entire bay, but you can go from, East Palo Alto all the way up through South San Francisco, just cruising along next to the water. So the views are fantastic. The variety of terrain is fantastic. And then even when you're just in the neighborhoods, biking around can be really nice. I think one of the things I really like about biking is that it provides you an opportunity to see a little bit more of the communities that you're rolling through. So if you're in a car, you may be going past it, 30 or 40 miles an hour. You may just, see a bakery out of the corner of your eye and say, oh, well, too late. I'm already past it, right? And then if you did want to stop, you got to find parking. You have to, figure out where all your things are. On a bike, if you're coming up to that bakery, you're going to see it coming, and you can just stop and go inside, get a pastry, grab a taco, like whatever, So
I get distracted by the smell. That's usually how I know there's a bakery nearby, and then I start
yeah,
pining for it on my bike. Yeah.
yeah. So just the fact that like you have access to those things really easily on a bike is fantastic, and the fact that we have a lot of things like that throughout the county, great little shops and stores and places to eat and explore. So
Yeah, but definitely, yeah, getting a chance to kind of like remove yourself from that like thing that kind of keeps you in your centered spot. And when you're out on your bike, you can see your community a little bit more. It's more inviting, I would say. Oh, cool.
Exactly.
So fun. Oh, okay. I mean, we got to wrap this up. I got to get out on my bike. This is too cool. Okay, I have one more question for you, Matt. What projects is your team working on to improve access to biking in San Mateo County?
Yeah, so there are two processes going on right now. They have one project looking at Coleman and Ringwood Avenue in Menlo Park, and the other one is a project looking at a railroad crossing in North Fair Oaks. These are sort of planning processes that are just starting. There's a lot going to be some ways pretty soon that you can get involved. So we really urge you to stay tuned to our social medias. There'll be a dedicated webpage that goes up soon where you can sort of learn more about these. But the idea is that we need community input to figure out how to implement infrastructure of any kind, bicycle infrastructure or not. And these are two projects that are going to be specifically bike and pedestrian focused. And we would love your guys' input. Any community input to get involved in those types of programs is fantastic. So stay tuned to our social medias, definitely. I guess beyond just sort of my own project and my own team specifically, I always love to plug our bicycle coalitions, our local bicycle coalitions. This is like the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition, the East Bay Bicycle Coalition, Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition, of course. These are great resources. They're organizations that work to promote biking. They offer free classes and learn how to fix your bike and learn the rules of the road and do all kinds of great stuff. Throw events, they throw parties, but they also work to just advocate for bike infrastructure and pedestrian infrastructure. So they don't we don't represent them and they don't represent us, but our goals definitely do align. So stay tuned to our social media to learn what the county's up to, but also check them out because they're a great resource for biking and bike advocacy in the area.
Yeah. That's great. And so those are called bike coalitions, right? And it sounded like they were kind of brought up or divided by the region. So the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition covers San Mateo County. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. That sounds great. And then for the projects that we're working on in the Office of Sustainability, you can check us out on our website and on social media to learn more. Our website is smcsustainability.org. And then you're looking for livable communities and active transportation. We really need public feedback, especially for like these kind of community components of our programming. So we look forward to like getting everyone involved and hearing from you why this matters to you too. Cool. It looks like I just wanted to offer again, if there's questions from the public, you want to talk about biking with Matt and myself, we'd love to hear from you. But with that, I think we are, well, I guess, Matt, do you have any final thoughts before we say goodbye for today?
No, I mean, I guess just thanks for having me. And, I highly recommend everybody dust off their wheels, borrow some bike from a friend, get out and ride this weekend if you can. It's the weather's great and nothing feels better,
Yeah, nothing feels better. I love it. And then I think I heard a hot tip from you earlier when we were preparing for this, that don't go on the highest hill this weekend, right? What were you sharing before, Matt?
Yeah, we were talking about hot tips for getting started biking. My hot tip is just get comfortable. I think some people look at biking as a big, scary thing to do for the first time. And it certainly can be. And especially if you look at sort of the more recreational side of things, it can be intimidating. I mean, the idea of like mountain biking down a bunch of rocks can be terrifying. The idea of biking like Lance Armstrong flying down some mountain on a little skinny road bike next to a bunch of cars can be terrifying, but it doesn't have to be. Biking doesn't have to be those things. It can just be a roll around the block in your neighborhood. It can just be popping over to the store. So get comfortable on your bike is sort of my big tip. Take it easy. You don't have to try the hardest thing. It doesn't have to be a big, scary event. Just start with something small, and you can always work your way up. But there's no reason to go crazy the first time. Just take it easy. Enjoy it.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today, Matt. We'll see you soon.
Sure thing. Have a good one.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I encourage you to celebrate Bike Month in your community this weekend and all throughout the summer. Explore resources shared here and take a spin in your neighborhood, just doing what's comfortable for you and who you want to bike with this weekend. We hope to see you out there this weekend and in the future, biking, walking, or rolling through San Mateo County. Thank you for joining us this morning to discuss Bike Month and the benefits of biking within San Mateo County with the Office of Sustainability. Stay connected and involved to our work by following us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at SustainSMC. You can find more information about the County Office of Sustainability and the work that we're doing by visiting our website, which is smcsustainability.org. With that, thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and we'll see you next time. I'm Camille Lang, and this has been Sustainability Matters.